Since the beginning of the year, we've had a feature, Rands and Cents, because obviously we try to help you guys to be penny wise. And we've had this feature sponsored by Dr. Det. And I'm always SMS Mahala to this number and find out what Dr. Det, so that they can give you an obligation-free quote and find out how they can also help you. So today we decided on Rands and Cents, we're going to have them in studio. We're going to have a discussion and find out more about exactly what it is they do and how we can benefit you. You know, when those debit orders kick in,
Alela, available personal.
yeah. And if you tell you it debit order, you know, and then BCB Zaman,
you know,
so it doesn't have to be like that, guys. So Dr. Det is in studio today. So baby steps, how we can better our life. That's going to be happening now. But for now, let's just get accustomed to understanding about how we do things, the meditation this way.
Yeah, of course.
First is we speak in slang. So
you have
to try and decide the slang themselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys choose.
So when I think of Dr. Det, I was thinking of grey people in grey suits, but no. We have Corinne Lewis in studio from Dr. Det. Hi, Corinne. Welcome to Gagasi FM.
Hi, thanks for having me here today.
Welcome.
And who's the gentleman with you?
This is Butti, aka Abraham. Butti can speak Zulu, so I thought it's
pretty. Ninja and Butti.
Yaphila nina ninjani?
No, it's a true citizen of the Rainbow Nation.
Yeah.
Was a common as Usfundeleke phezulu baba.
Sikhulele plazini.
Ukhulele plazini. Okay, I know siyabonga kakhulu. So Corinne, can you tell us more about Dr. Det?
So Dr. Det has been established for 10 years this year. In June we're celebrating our 10th birthday, and we've helped thousands of people around South Africa to get themselves debt free.
So you guys have been trying to alleviate every problem when it comes to finance and debt. You're going to help a lot of us then in that case.
The business is very socially minded. Our primary purpose is to help people. So we're kind of driven by the factor that South Africa has a huge debt crisis, and it's up to us to kind of help alleviate that, and with that, educating people about how to spend more wisely.
How do you spend more wisely and avoid debt? Or better manage debt?
I think the biggest thing is we need to learn to save first and spend later. Too many people, you know, we live in the society where you get whatever you want immediately. So it's that instant gratification. And I think just the way social media works, the way life works now, you want it, you get it, it's there. But the reality is, in our parents' generation, they actually saved first and then they would buy whatever they want.
Of course.
And we all know punch is king. You can get a much better deal if you actually are paying cash rather than trying to negotiate a credit deal.
Yeah. Of course.
So you spend what's left after saving?
Absolutely.
You don't save what's left after spending.
Absolutely. And you save with a goal in mind. I think we've all got dreams and aspirations. So it's having that goal in mind and actually saving towards something that's substantial.
So obviously, a lot of us are burdened by debt. So I'm hoping to learn a lot of things from you today, because much as I think when you talk about gratification, then it talks to the needs, and when you talk about gratification, then it talks to the needs and wants. You know what I mean? Spending on rather what you need as opposed to what you want. Say, for instance, if you need a mode of transportation, you can get a cheaper car as opposed to you wanting a big Mercedes-Benz or something. So what can you say about that?
I absolutely agree with you. I think we have these huge need to look like and the image we need to project. But at the same time, I think we must realize, because of the state of our economy and because everything is getting more and more expensive, people that could maybe survive with the debt they had can no longer survive. It's not even about sort of wasting money on wants. It's about just having enough money to get by. So people, and we see store cards, you know, from grocery stores now, where people are buying their daily living items on credit, and that is very scary.
I always say this: credit makes people feel as if they can afford things when they can't, you know. So it's so much important to have, you know, that mind, that thriftiness, you know, in you. So now, how exactly do you guys solve these problems?
So what we do is we're regulated by the National Credit Act.
Okay.
And how it works is a person will come to us and we'll do a free assessment. and we look at their income, their net income, less reasonable living expenses, your rent, your food, electricity, whatever. And whatever's left over should be the amount that is paying off debt. Ideally, it's paying off debt and saving. But the majority of people cannot afford that debt and those normal monthly living expenses.
Corinne, tell me briefly, what is a reckless credit?
Reckless credit is quite a big thing in South Africa. That's when you actually can't afford the credit that you've got. So you will then be given a loan or a credit card, a store card, with an amount where you cannot afford those monthly installments. So you actually shouldn't have got the credit to begin with because you could not afford that repayment every month. Counsellors are one of the few people, or the only people in South Africa, that have the ability to investigate reckless credit and then bring it to the attention of the NCR and recommend what we think we should either write off the interest, find a way that we can actually pay that money back.
So for a listener that is listening to the show now, maybe some of them are not aware that they are now deep in the red. What are some of the flags that people should look out for so that they can call in and have you assist them?
Okay, the biggest flag is that you don't have enough money to live off every month. That you kind of finding you're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul and you're rotating your debt. Huge flag. We see a lot of stress in households where there's constant fighting, alcohol abuse. It's actually very dangerous what debt does to a family and society.
So you say it's a free risk assessment?
It's absolutely no. I need you to sign some paperwork because we do a credit check. Again, that is free. And then we'll look at if debt review can work for you, because it doesn't work for everybody.
Of course.
And we're not in the business of just sticking in people into debt review because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We put people in debt review where we know it's going to work for them. We put people in debt review where we know it's going to work for them and create a financially free future for them.
Corinne, can you just take us through the whole process of application?
So the first thing we'd do is a free assessment. Somebody would fill in a form which we would send to them on their smartphone if they need to, or we do it online on our website. We need a photograph of an ID book, and that's enough to get you your free assessment.
Okay.
So it's a signed form and a copy of your ID.
So they need to be physically at your offices?
No, they can do that all online. They can also even photograph of the signed form, as long as we've got proof that we're not just doing it for the person without them giving us permission.
Of course. And thus far, how are these, requests for a financial checkup or a credit checkup going with Dr. Det?
Yeah, they go very well. We get a lot every single month, because there are a lot of people out there that are in serious trouble. But yeah, it's really easy. We've got a free SMS line, because normally people that are in the situation don't have the funds even to send an SMS.
Yes.
So that's 30772, and anybody can just send their name and a good time to call them, and we can start the ball rolling.
Okay, cool. So let's take a listen to some of the questions that you have for Dr. Det.
Asanda ngihlala la kwaMash. Bengicela ukubuza, yazi nginenkinga khona isikweletu enginaso saka Louis, and faneke engabe sengisiqedile kwamanje because nginayo umuntu ongikhokhela ikweletu kodwa manje ngibona ngathi asehle lesikweletu sihlele endaweni eyodwa nje, kodwa ngiyamnikeza lo muntu ukuthi angikhokhele.
Felix wethu maduma la, mina bengisebenza mfethu manje ngaphelela umsebenzi and nginekweletu eningi manje ngenze njani mfethu because angisasebenzi manje.
Into immigration is okay. Usiyalona hamster. So othi ngibuza, let's say ngikweletu mashonisa le like, will they be able to help me or must I figure it myself out? Like, I'm confused bafethu. Cala ningisize.
Okay, the debt, they're servicing the debt, but it never seems to come down or come to an end. So, and the second caller is no longer employed, but still has debt, and wants to know what to do.
Third one. That one owes the loan shark.
Owns a loan shark. So we want to know. Obviously, this is now through the informal parts of lending. If you guys can still be able to assist them.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the first one.
Yes. The first one is struggling with the furniture store that she owes money.
So if she's got quite a lot of debt, I think the best thing for us to do, sometimes it's just a budgeting problem. You know, where we can help the person work out a budget and maybe they can afford their debt, and we'll help them get a definite plan of getting that debt to an end. And we don't charge for that because, again, our primary purpose is to help people. But if debt review will actually work, if the person does a free assessment,
Yes.
and we can see that it will work, and does a free assessment,
Yes.
and we can see that it will work, there's always a beginning and an end to debt review. And I think that's the beautiful thing, that you know at the end of the process, you are debt free. And everything you earn every single month is yours.
Because now, I also used to struggle with something like that,
Yeah.
where you pay off debt, and after that, you actually haven't even touched the capital amount. You're just paying off interest.
The interest,
and then they
yeah.
say there's something called compound interest.
Eish.
Interest on interest. And then others say that is zero. How does that work, Dr. Det?
So the beautiful thing about debt review is we actually have the ability to negotiate that interest rate with the credit providers. So when a person comes to us for debt review, we look at, if you can imagine, it's a pie, okay? And we've worked out that round circle of a pie is what's left for debt.
Yeah.
And let's say the person has $5,000 and we've worked out maybe they can afford $2,000 every month. We cut up that pie according to what credit providers are initially wanting.
Of course.
And then we go to them and we say, listen, this person, this is what they can afford, and let's reduce the interest rate, we extend the term, and we make that affordable. But we get a court order so that person, no further legal action can be taken against them, and that's like a safe legal for them to be paying less money, usually at reduced interest rates, and then we know at the end of that period there's a definite end and they are debt free.
So Molalele nawe ekhaya lapha, as opposed to not picking up the calls, not
Yeah.
opening the mail,
Yeah.
into fanele uyenze manje ukuthumela leyo SMS leyo ku Dr. Det nokuneza ama details ayo. Kusikube ibona abasukayo bahamba bayo negotiate on your behalf. Njengoba umchaza bakwazi extend the period, behlisa interest rate, bakukhulumele, bakwenzela iorder yokuthi yo, yikani ukumfonela nimharasa nimbelesele lo muntu.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I think wonke umuntu uyayidinga usizo la Dr.
I know a lot
Det.
of from this service, 100%.
Okay, so that concludes it. The second part, the second caller, who is now no longer employed.
Okay, so that becomes a bit more tricky because if you're no longer employed, unfortunately, with debt review, you need to be earning an income. But again, I'd like to stress that person, please send an SMS 30772 and just put second caller, and I'm going to get somebody back to call you and help you work through it so we can get an action plan for you that you can see a light at the end of that tunnel.
Okay.
Wow.
It was also mashonisa kahleki now.
Hey.
So what about the mashonisas?
Okay, the machinistas, that's a big problem. And machinistas, that's a big problem in South Africa. There are a lot of them and they use some really scary tactics to get money out of people.
My
Again,
motion used to work for one. Who was a collections expert.
A bounty hunter.
okay, the reality is even machinistas are meant to be registered with, you know, you can't just, and they've lowered their amounts. I can't think of it offhand, but I think it's like 50,000 Rand. If that person is lending out more than that, and it's 5 people or 10 people a month, they need to be registered as a credit regulator, as a credit provider. Again, we can help with Moshanisa. We have done it in the past where we actually get the NCR, we report it to the NCR, and we make sure that those companies have to follow the rules like we all do. You know, because it is a major problem.
Their interest rates are much higher.
Much higher, and it's the tactics they use to get the money back that are so scary. And a lot of those people that's a huge cause of reckless credit, and people end up in that terrible debt cycle where they have to take debt every single month to survive. We can put an end to that cycle.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Det, for coming through. Once again, your contact details?
Contact details, you can SMS 3077272. That's a direct free SMS line, and somebody will call you back. If you put a time, then we can always call you back when it's convenient for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.